Stop what it looked like, man. We back. Hey, yo, your boy, Towering Inferno, Mr. Sebastian Fundora puts it down, man. Puts it down. Hey, yo, Keith Thurman put in as much as he could, man, but this dude had no chance in the world, man. Going into the fight, I had high hopes for Keith Thurman, man. I was actually one of the people that was rooting for him. I was really looking forward to him doing some of what we've seen with Mario Barrios and Brock in his previous fights, man. But this was just not going to be the case, man. Sebastian Fundora is definitely materializing into a very special fighter, man. Attributes aside in terms of his dimensions, all that extra height and all that extra reach, this dude is actually seriously improving in terms of his technique, his calmness, his sense of control when he's in that ring, man. He's just really exhibiting a lot of growth and maturity, and I don't think Keith Thurman was ready for that, man. I don't think a lot of us was ready for that. I knew it would be a tough fight for Keith, just kind of dealing with the strength and the youth and the distance that will be proposed in this matchup. But I really didn't foresee how calm Sebastian would take on this matchup, man. And I think that caught a lot of us by surprise. It was a marvel to watch, man. I really appreciated the quality of the fight that was put up between the two fighters. Keith Thurman did, what he could, man. He didn't do just about anything he wanted to do. He only did what he could. Sebastian didn't give him too many options, man. He just put the pressure on from the beginning, man. The opening round, that first hook to the jaw, man, it just set the tone for the rest of the fight. I think once Keith Thurman realized that Fundora was not there to throw a bunch of arm punches, he was really there to just charge him every time he stepped up and just got in the way of that right hand, man. Sebastian was just punishing, man. He was doling out pain from the beginning, and Thurman just couldn't get around any part of this dude's body, man. He couldn't go left, he couldn't go right. He was not comfortable in any spot. I think Thurman started to rely so heavily on his footwork to keep him alive that he just abandoned the volume punching. I think he, things that he would normally do, he was just pretty much nullified, man. Fundora presented a puzzle for him that you have to kind of fight this guy to understand what you need to do in order to break him down. It's not enough to train in the gym, for a guy like him right now, because it's just such a weird set of obstacles to overcome. The height, the youth, the caginess, the ranginess that he presents. It's just it's a real difficult task, man, because you just can't get the training in. You can't. There's nobody out there that really looks like this guy, that really fights like this guy, and at the same time he is an evolving, type of project. You know what I mean? Like Fundora continually looks better and better as he fights from one matchup to the next. Like, this guy's literally not just starting to dominate, he's literally improving. His conditioning is better, his maturity is better, his soundness, his accuracy, his striking ability is all improving, man. And it's hard to train for something that's constantly evolving like that, especially when in the gym itself you don't have a lot of training partners that can mirror that kind of package. It's hard to train for a dude like that, man. But Keith Thurman, being like the warrior spirit that he is, man, I think he put all his heart in it. He didn't really get to utilize his skills. I think his skills were just nullified by the power, the unsuspected amount of speed that Fundora presented. I didn't think Keith would think that Fundora would be able to hit him so accurately and so swiftly each time he tried. Everything Fundora threw basically looked like a precision shot, man. Everything landed. Everything was on point and on time and within the right distance. He was not throwing any weird wide arm punches. He wasn't wasting any shots. He wasn't overdoing anything, which I really appreciated about Fundora's application of his arsenal for this fight. Like, this guy was very controlled. Even when he was clearly dominating the fight, he never got overzealous. He never got too much inside his head. At some point in the fight, it got a little bit later on, and like the volume and the damage was just piling up, and he was seeing a reflection of his work on Keith Thurman's fucked up face. Pissed him down. He fucked Keith Thurman up, man. I was feeling bad for Thurman, man, because I like me some Keith Thurman. That motherfucker's giving us a lot of good fights. So, I was rooting for him. I was hoping that, he would have a favorable outcome in this fight. But listen, man, sometimes you in the ring and all you got is your heart, because your skills ain't worth a damn that night, man. I mean, you want the dude on the opposite side of the fence is just so much bigger and better and stronger and faster and calm and cool and collected. Man, that's a lot of shit to deal with, man, especially when you've been inactive for so long, as Keith Thurman has been over the course of the last, I'm gonna say maybe 7-8 years. It's just his fights are sporadic. They're good quality fights. I think the layoff in a lot of cases actually did help him in some of the earlier fights. I think he's had a lot of time to reflect, to reinvigorate himself energy-wise and interest-wise in the sport. And then at the same time, he's had a lot of time to heal, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, discredited that, because of his age and stuff like that. But I think a lot of fighters, man, that are better preserved because of their diet and their the opportunity to give themselves to actually heal and put their body through a state of repair before they get back in there and do another drill, I think it can be advantageous. It can be helpful, you know what I mean? And I think that's actually been the outcome in the case with Keith Thurman's some of his previous fights, So hence the confidence a lot of people had in him coming around to this fight, but the proposition was just too monumental, man. Too monumental. The Towering Inferno is he's been called that for a long time. I mean, that's his nickname, his moniker. But I think he's really kind of stepping into that a lot more in a way that, us fans, us people who are looking in on the outside, that's really seeing this guy evolve. He's becoming more and more of a suture to that identity of the Towering Inferno, man. This dude is it's becoming something special to watch, man. This dude's starting to look like a baby Tyson Fury up in that motherfucker. So I was definitely happy to see the way the fight turned out. Happy to see Fundora just stepping it up, and to see that Thurman, although he just couldn't do shit, man. The motherfucker just couldn't do none of that shit that was in his mind, none of that shit that was in his spirit wasn't there. But the motherfucker never quit. He got the shit beat out of him, and he had to be told that the fight was over. And coming to that point, in the press conference after the fight, Keith Thurman lit into referee Tom Taylor. I'm gonna say this about Tom Taylor. That dude is hands down one of the best referees on the planet, bro. That dude is fair. I think he has good judgment. I think he has good timing, and I think he understands the fighters well enough to know when to cut them some slack and when to reel it back in. I think he's one of the safest referees to be in the ring with, in the instance where the damage is piling up. This dude really does his job, and he don't seem to me, you can't never tell because people do what they do, but he don't seem to me like the gambling type of referee that got money on a certain fighter. I never get a sense that he's giving one guy too much credit, too much leeway. He seems very impartial, very down the line. But Keith Thurman went in on his ass. He said the motherfucker was jumpy. He said he shouldn't be hired for any main events anymore like this. And, I want to give Keith Thurman a little bit of a pass on that. Although my impression and my thinking, my perception of referee Tom Taylor is totally the opposite of what Keith Thurman articulated, right, after that press conference, the post fight press conference, right. I'm gonna give Keith Thurman a pass. The reason being is that when you lose a fight the way Keith Thurman lost a fight, which is a way that is very new to him, highly uncomfortable, and certainly not in the same mental or the idea that he had in his mind about how this shit was going to go down. Pair that with a fighting spirit and somebody who really believes in themselves. You have there's a lot of work to do to talk a man into a state of mental resignation. You know what I mean? When he believes so thoroughly in his skill set and his passion for the fight, as Keith Thurman does, right? So I'm gonna give him a pass. I think he just had like a little emotional elevation in that moment, and he said what he said. Now he meant the shit. I'm not saying he didn't mean the shit. I'm just saying, the motherfucker, he just thought that if he had 4 more minutes, just 4 more motherfucking minutes, that he was gonna turn this shit around and get Fundora in the pocket, where he wanted him. And that's all fine. That's just basically him echoing the sounds of a fighting spirit, a never die attitude, and that's the kind of fight we want to see in the boxers that show up to entertain us and keep us believing in this boxing game. You know what I mean? I like that, but sometimes a man can be so entrenched in his own belief of self that motherfucker just becomes delusional in the moment. And by delusional, I mean those 4 minutes, the way the rest of the world seen it, he was just gonna get killed in that motherfucking fight. Okay, Fundora, he may not have like a mean spirit, but he has some mean motherfucking hands, and them shits was all landing on Keith Thurman. He was fucking him up. Keith Thurman's face looked like a pre-Halloween outfit. Like this motherfucker was getting lit up. I mean, lit the fuck up. And Fundora looked to me like he was warming up. He didn't look like he was tired. He wasn't panting. He wasn't slowing down. He was looking more and more comfortable. And he was calm as shit. This motherfucker was putting hands on Keith Thurman. He was not letting up. He was not showing any signs of getting overzealous. And that's a dangerous fighter when he already got you behind the card on basically every round. Basically every round was in the pocket for Fundora in a dominant fashion. It was not even questionable. There was no, you could see rounds where Thurman did better than Thurman did in a previous round, but you never seen a round where Thurman did better than Fundora in that round. So Fundora was handling his business, man. The dude showed up real official, and yeah, sometimes it be like that, man. You go into the fight, you're hoping for the legend, that thing about that one fighter that reminds you of him and makes you appreciate him, like we do about a Keith Thurman. You hoping that Keith has like a stellar night, and then the guy in the other side in the other corner, man, he just brought too much to the table, man. There's nothing you can do about that except take that shit and pick up the pieces and rebuild if that's what you want to do when you're out of there. But giving him a pass on going off on Tom Taylor. He's wrong as hell about Tom Taylor, I think. And those last 4 minutes would have only got Keith Thurman killed. Understand? He would have got his ass killed. Towering Inferno is being called that for a reason. The motherfuckers lighting motherfuckers up. Keith Thurman is just the latest victim. Still a Keith Thurman fan, and in a more even matchup, shit, yeah. I might bet on Keith Thurman again. But for this night, man, Fundora is in charge. That motherfucker is unquestionably dominant. And the only person right now that should probably have anything to say to Fundora with a straight face about, is Charlo. Because Charlo just never been defeated in the division yet. And he held the titles, and without him stepping away, those titles might have not been relinquished and made available to other fighters at the time. But on paper, the eye test says Charlo might also get fucked up. But hey, you got to give a man a chance to prove his case. And I look forward to some more Fundora fights, man. And hopefully there's a revamp and a resurgence of Keith Thurman. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Fuck all y'all as usual, and good night. Peace.